So let me ask you this. What has changed with SEO and what is the same with SEO? Because I
So
know you mentioned Google has a lot of changes going on.
yeah, they make changes all the time, and that's most of my job seems to be adjusting to tweaks they do.
Right.
Um, One of the biggest things as far as SEO goes that has happened recently is they did an update just in November of 2021 that affected your results as far as it's called proximity. So this is why getting the rest of your SEO ducks in a row is even more important. But what's happening now is if you ever do a search on Google, you'll see there's a map that comes up, and the top three are like in that map pack. It used to be one business, if you were really good at SEO, could dominate an entire area and just come up number one through the whole thing. But they've shrunk that back to people that are closest proximity to where the user is searching from. So if I were to search for private school, Tulsa, where I'm at, um, right where I'm sitting, then I would get a different result than somebody searching from the opposite side of Tulsa. And
Interesting.
because they're going to change that map pack based on how close the business is to you. And I think they're going to adjust this in the future. At least I would, because like if I'm looking for a pizza place, yeah, tell me who's closest. But if I'm looking to have my siding replaced, if I'm looking for a private school, I could care less about them being an extra 5 miles from me. That's not a big deal. But it seems to have really limited now to like if you're in a really busy metropolitan area, it seems to be anywhere like somewhere 10-ish miles out. This is just what I've seen. So it's anecdotal. It's not like 100% fact because Google doesn't tell you their secret sauce. So you don't really know.
Right.
But what I've seen is the problem is there's some sites where you've done all this work on on your profile, your Google My Business profile, which directly interrelates with SEO as well.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly you have people who are brand new, no reviews, showing up above you just because they're closer to where the user searched from. So I can see Google adjusting this later because they're not going to give the users what the results are looking for on certain things. But for right now, that's partly what we're dealing with is showing up. Where you're going to show up at the top is now shrunk geographically in relation to where the center of your business is. Even if you've declared that you're a service area that serves an entire area, they base it off of where you verified your business at with Google. And the problem with that now is you have people who they mainly serve over on the west side of the city, but their business is on the east. And we're having clients have that kind of an issue. So this is partly why it's even more important to have your SEO ducks in a row. Because SEO, it's not just about SEO. It's about your authority. And like, so think about it when you get to your website. SEO, one of the indicators for SEO is time on page that people spend. If they get to your site and it's confusing, it doesn't answer the questions, it doesn't give them what they're looking for, they're going to exit right away. Well, that time on site is shorter, so you are less reliable to providing an answer to Google than someone else. So if you have these things in a row where you're really giving the answer the clients are looking for, and one of the best things we tell our strategists to get from those business owners is you guys do the sales pitch. You know your sales pitch. You know what you say when you're selling. You know the objections people raise when they're selling. Let's deal with those on the main page. Let's put those on there. People are looking for that. And that's like
Right.
gold. That info is gold. And it sometimes can be hard to get, but it's like the best thing you can do is make your page talk like you're selling it, your main sales page. And you will begin to succeed over these others. That's why, because they may come up first, but they're going to click on their site and just exit right out because they're going to see they're not what they're looking for. And I do really think Google will make an adjustment later down the road because you're having less valuable businesses come up before ones that are established and been there for decades. And it's frustrating for right now, but I can see where that probably will adjust, but no one has the insight into Google as to when and what they're going to do. As far as the number, they literally do major updates several times a year, but they do minor ones. You can tell by the way the rankings have weird things happen monthly, weekly. And it's someplace I saw estimated there were over 100 changes last year to Google's search algorithm.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's what we constantly adjust for. Most of it won't really affect you. Only the big major ones, like this one that happened in November, has been a problem. But that's why getting all these things in a row is so important, because you need to, being based around providing what your clients are going to want.
Right.
If you think about it that way, you're going to succeed at SEO without even really having to try hard. All I'd have to do is go in and tweak some things. If your content's well written and it's providing great answers to questions, I just get to do minor tweaking and you're going to succeed. And that's some of the simple thing. Provide what people are looking for. That's what it really comes down to.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because if we do all these steps that you've said, and we do the blogs, and then we do the pages, and we've done everything correctly for SEO, it leads me to my next question. Why would we need ongoing SEO?
Well, the reason we need ongoing SEO is because we just talked about, where things change constantly. Google constantly changes what they do. Not a lot of major changes, but there are major changes, and there are ones, some big ones they tell you about ahead of time. Sometimes they just drop them on you.